Well, hey guys, welcome back to another review episode. I had some comments. Somebody wanted me to talk about poison. Now, primarily here where I'm at in East Tennessee in the Smoky Mountain area, we basically have three kinds that are real prevalent. That's poison oak, poison ivy, and Virginia creeper, which maybe to some people may not be they may not be as sensitive to it, but any one of those three I'm really sensitive. All I need to do is, I probably should stand closer to the camera, is get close and it'll jump on me. No, I'm teasing, but no, I get if I get it rubbed on me, my skin has a severe reaction to it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the camera over here and I'm going to show you two kinds. I have to really go across the road. I haven't really noticed any of the poison oak up here, but I do have ivy and I do have the Virginia creeper, so I'm going to move the camera and I'll show you what those are. Now I believe that there are several different kinds. Right here is some ivy, right there is some ivy. This doesn't necessarily, the leaves don't necessarily look like that, but I know definitely that this is ivy, and I know definitely that that is ivy right there. Because if I touch it, then I'm going to have a reaction to it. So let me move across and I will show you another type of leaf. You've seen this. I'm going to show you another type of leaf that we have up here, and then I'm going to show you some Virginia creeper. See, this leaf right here doesn't quite look like, this looks like the smaller plant that I was referring to earlier, but this right here is very poisonous to me. Now I'm going to show you some Virginia creeper. These 5-leaf plants right here, this is Virginia creeper. Now, you can also find these vines growing up the trees. The poison ivy does the same thing as well. And you know, even in the wintertime when the leaves are gone, even the vine that grows on the tree, it's got little hairs, like little brown hairs. The oil that actually irritates your skin, it's still there, it's still present in the wintertime. So if I was to handle it, if you're sensitive to it, if I was to handle it, it would get all over me, and you know, I would even be broken out in the wintertime. So I've got to be very careful working around up here in the woods. That's one reason you don't see me wearing shorts. You know, if I was working down there around the cabin, I really wouldn't mind it, but not up here in the woods. Even when I was working for AT&T, a lot of the guys that worked in town wore shorts, but I basically worked out in the country portion of the county, and I didn't dare do that because my legs, ankles, you know, they would have been ate up with poison. But then somebody wanted to know how to treat it. Well, I'll tell you how I do it. It may not be the best method. A lot of people I know use calamine lotion. I think that some people have been even prescribed steroids for it. But normally what I do is I've got some lye soap, and I keep it for that. I take the lye soap, I take a surgical scrub brush, and I brush it, the lye soap on there till I break basically my skin open. Of course, it feels so good while I'm doing it, right? But anyway, I will break the skin, and then I will pad that dry, and then I will take Clorox, basically bleach, and I will pour on that, and generally within a couple of days it's gone. But I've had it so bad one time, I had some spots around my neck, didn't know what it was, and I was scratching, you know, all night long, scratching, didn't know what was going on. And then I had spread it, I had a great big rash right there on my neck. But I'll tell you, it can be very irritating, especially in some places that may be hard to get to if you, you know, get it on certain parts of your body where you can't scratch, then yeah, it can be really bad. But you know, I'm not really for sure why some people are sensitive and others aren't, but I am very sensitive to it. and then I don't know what the best remedy. You know, if you do, if you know some really good remedies, leave the comments for other people to check out, because you know I would be interested in learning other ways. Now, I am used to the burning sensation of the Clorox now when I put it on, and I really, honestly, I don't mind it. But you know, some people they may not want to go that route. So, if you've got a good remedy to get rid of poison ivy, you know, then please share that with other people. So that's just how I do it. Anyway, that's my little spiel on the poison. You know, like I said, I haven't really seen any oak up here. I'm sure that we have it, but I mean, there are certain parts that you can go to, like the national park. I can be over there and I see it growing a lot of different places. Yep, that's my little spiel on the poison. So leave some comments in the section and maybe we can learn from you if you've got a good remedy. You know, I shot that little picture of Smokey right there because I can remember when I was putting together a year-long video for what I actually did in 2020, I had reviewed some of the footage. Actually, when he came, I got him in December. I think it was the second week of December. And it was funny because we were just moving that stove in that I had purchased. And I was talking to my brother-in-law about, you know, the measurements and so forth, and I happened to turn around and Jennifer had played a trick on me. She actually went and picked up the dog. I was supposed to pick him up later that day and go with her to get him, but she actually picked up the dog and brought him up here. So when I turned around, she was standing there with him, and he had this on. This is a little tiny collar, and I can't even hardly get it on I can't even get it over my hand hardly. But he had this thing on. They had many different colors because I think they had 12 puppies. So they had different colors to tell them apart so that they didn't get the dogs mixed up with who they were promised to. But I thought that I would save this because I bought the largest choke collar. Of course, I had to have that in town because he was always, you know, wanting to get out and run, and he would pull the leash, so the choke collar did help. But you know, now that someone had made a comment, and I never even thought about it, but wearing the choke collar, because all the time I'm throwing the ball and he runs off in the woods, if he actually ran into a stick and got hung up on it, and I got to missing him and didn't, you know where he was at, then there's a possibility, you know, if he got it hung up, that he could choke. So I decided to go ahead and take it off of him. You know, if I go to town, then I'll put it on there. That way I can just hook the leash to him, and you know, he doesn't want to, because he's still a puppy at heart and he has a very hard head. But of course, if it's talking about food, he'll sit, he'll beg, he'll stand, he'll do whatever. But if it's anything else, you know, if it doesn't go suit him, then he doesn't want to listen. But yeah, anyway, I thought that this is pretty cool, that this was actually the collar that he was wearing when he came up here. This wouldn't even hardly go over his paw now. He is a beast. I'm about 2 weeks away from getting the chickens when the farmer's market opens, and I think I'm going to try to get a couple of ducks. I'm going to be on the lookout for some peacocks. I really like the peacocks, like having them around. Like I've said before, they were really good watchdogs because they would let you know when anything moved, or if it was coming up the hill, they would let out before the dogs would. But anyway, yeah, I'm excited about getting those chickens. I've got a couple of feeders, I think, spoken for, so I'll be picking those up, and the little things that you water them with. So the only thing that I need to get now is if I can find some clear, like the molded plastic, like that's kind of made like tin, to put up there. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put that up there, and possibly on the sides right here. I'll still have a good draft coming from underneath here, because I'm only going to go down to that right there, and I may go all the way down to the bottom on the back side. But that way still let sunshine through, and it will, you know, keep this dirt out here possibly really dry too, you know, for them to take a dust bath in. But that keeps all the bugs and stuff off of them. But anyway, yeah, I really enjoyed this chicken build. I hope that you guys were able to watch the whole series. If you can't, I've got that in a playlist, so you can go check that out. And all these other buildings, if you're new to this channel, be sure and go check out our website, because we have two channels, this one, Outpost Review, and also Smoky Mountain Outpost, which is where we do all the building. This is basically behind the scenes. But we have monthly giveaways that we do on both channels, and also we've started our new milestone giveaway, so we're excited about all that. All the details, you can find that on our website. But yeah, I am excited about getting this done, getting, you know, the animals up here, and then moving on to a different project. Now I'm going to start working on the cabin, because it won't be really that long, probably another week, and I'll be moved out here. And I will have opportunity to work a little bit longer. You know, I can start earlier, I can work later, and might even do some fireside chats, you know, for the Outpost Review and stuff like that. So I'm excited about being out here. But yeah, like I say, I'll try to probably work on my closet first, because when I move my clothes in there, I need, you know, that to kind of be dust free, because I don't want to move the clothes in there and then just create a bunch of dust and get all over them. So I want to have it, you know, a small ceiling up overhead, and probably just finish the interior walls of that, so that I can go ahead and move my clothes in there. Because the big rod that I'm going to put, which is going to be 12 feet long, I've got to put a support in the middle, so I don't want to have to try to work around everything, you know, if I go ahead and put that rod up to hang the clothes. So I want to have that done before I bring the clothes out here. But that's probably what I'm going to be videoing next, working some on that. And I may probably start milling the lumber for the front porch, because I'm fixing to go down there and I'll show you what I've been working on that you'll probably see in some upcoming videos. But anyway, let's walk down by the compost toilet and I'll show you what I'm talking about. You know, I was also working on a way to get rid of this big stump here, because every time I'd come up with the tractor with a big heavy log, or come down the hill with a heavy log, the tractor would always want to do one of these numbers, because it had to climb up about 6 or 8 inches, especially on this side right here, on the bottom side of it, and it was just a hazard. So what I did was, you'll see this in an upcoming video too, I had rolled a bunch of these logs around it, and then built a fire in that one wood pile that I had stacked between the trees, that, you know, when it would rain it would get wet, which was just a bunch of wood that I had cut up when I was clearing this property. And you know, it really wasn't good for burning inside or anything, because it's pine. I just stacked it up between the trees. I kept feeding it on here, and I've actually burned it down. Pretty good. There's still a portion of the root right here, and then right over here on this side. But I think I can probably take my blade and scrape a whole lot of this. It may still be a little hot. I don't really feel too much heat, but I can probably scrape a lot of this off. So I'm probably going to do the same thing. Now, the only thing that happened, a little bit of wind was blowing that day, and a few of these kind of got brown, basically right here. But I don't think that it hurt the rhododendron. I hope not. I'm beginning to get some flowers that are going to be blooming here not too long from now, so that'll be nice, because they sure are pretty. But I needed to get that out of the way, because you know, it can cause you to tip over, especially if you're not paying attention to what you're doing. So but that stump was the worst, but I do want to get that one out, and I think that's probably all that I'll do going up to the chicken house, because I'm not really trying to make a road anywhere else, but in order to get up there, and then actually going up this ridge where I've got some property up there, you know, I do want to have access. So this was primarily the only way for me to get up there, unless I'd have went around behind the cabin, but it really wasn't prepared for that. So I'm probably going to leave this right here where I can get up there, and when I decide to build my walkway to the chicken house, because I'm going to actually have it come off of the corner of that little tiny home, come around by the wood pile to where I can come up to the outdoor kitchen. I'm going to spread rocks between either the railroad ties, like I'd mentioned before about getting those from the church, if there's enough of them. If there's not, then I can always cut poles and make a little walkway like I did down there at that compost toilet up here and put gravel between them. But I want to make it continue to go right on up to the chicken house, so I can, at least, you know, in the wintertime or when it's raining, I don't actually get mud where I'm tracking it in and out and up and down on the you know, platform here at the kitchen. But let me show you, I had some plants when I was teaching martial arts where I would sit inside to just kind of lighten the mood, and I brought one of them out here. I don't know that I'm going to keep it because I'm out in the woods and it is artificial, but I'll show it to you. It does kind of brighten the mood. Now, it would in the wintertime because it would be green, but thought I would show it to you, and I thought I'd show you a rocking chair that Jennifer gave me, and I've got them sitting up here in the outdoor kitchen. So this is the plant that I actually want, well, one of the many plants that I had sitting in the corner of my school, which, you know, kind of brightened up the area. And I tied it off back there so it won't blow over. It might take off in a really high windstorm, but it's kind of cool. And then this is the rocking chair that they gave me, so when I get moved up here, I can actually hang out up here, you know, late in the evening if I want to, or early in the morning, whatever. But leave me some comments. Let me know what you think. Should I leave that or should I take it down? Because it is artificial. But like I said, in the wintertime, it might provide a little cheer, you know, because everything else will be brown or bare. But yeah, anyway, I just thought I would stick it there and just kind of see if it grew on me or not. I paid probably more for this nice basket than I did for what's stuck in it, but it was a nice arrangement, and you know, in town it was pretty cool to have that in the class. But I really like the chair. I'll probably get a lot of use out of this after work, or when I decide to take a break and come up here and just chill out. But anyway, yeah, I have officially got me a rocking chair. Well, I have officially started working on the posts for the front porch of the cabin. My son will be here in a couple of weeks, and what I've been trying to do is stockpile material so that when he gets here, we'll be able to, you know, get going and be able to pretty much work non-stop. I am going to get some plywood. I'm going to get some sheetrock, you know, for the inside to work on at least the bedroom area while he's here, and that part of the ceiling. I want to be able to order the material, the metal, before he gets here that will cover the front porch. But I do need to set the columns, and I've got a log down there I showed you last time on the review channel. I need to get that up here. I need to get it cut up, at least the rafters for the top portion, so that we can get that on there and be able to put the guttering on so that I can start catching water from my from the rain catchment system. So, but yeah, I have officially started working on these. And you know, some logs peel better than others. If they're dry, kind of like this one back here, they don't peel as well. But if they're green, like these two right here, then it kind of peels like a cedar log, which actually peels pretty good when it's green. But yeah, these posts, and you know, I've got cedar, but I'm not so sure which lasts longer. These yellow pines have a lot of sap in them, and I know sap is naturally, you know, it resists water. So I think with burning these and then treating them like I did the siding, I believe that the pine might last longer. That's the reason, because I've got, the cedars aren't quite this size, but I've got some good sized cedars that I could have made that with. But since I used pine on the cabin, I thought, why don't I just stick with the same one, because I know that these will last a long time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour columns and then set these up on top of the columns. I'll put something between them, you know, in the concrete column. But I know that these will last a long, long time. So, and I'm going to burn these and make it look just like the cabin. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to stick with the same process and continue on. So anyway, but yeah, these are officially posts for the front deck or the front porch of the cabin. You know what else is kind of funny? I read a comment where somebody was talking about me giving away this pine sap or this pine rosin in a giveaway. That he was sure, or she was sure, I don't remember if it was male or female, that people would enjoy receiving this as a giveaway, as a prize. But you know, to somebody like me or some of you all, if you live in the mountains, especially around here, you know, this is just all over in the woods, and it kind of struck me funny, but I thought, you know, in other parts of the country, people may not have availability of something like this to them. And I'll tell you, just a tiny portion of this goes a long way in starting a fire. So, I mean, there's many different things that you can use it for, but primarily that's what I use it for. And you know, you can melt it down, you can actually put it on sticks, you can pre-treat the sticks, you know, put those in your backpack and just, you know, kind of like put some on the end, a glob of it on the end of a stick, like kind of like a match, and just light that and stick it in there. Or you can just break off a piece like I do and set it on a piece of wood and let it burn, and then just start adding little stuff to it. But if that's something that might interest you, I could probably work up a good sized package of this. Now I don't know what the laws are. I guess I would have to check that out too, about, you know, transporting. I think there are some laws about transporting, especially logs, from one state to another, because they may not want to get, you know, certain bugs in their area that may be not native to their area. But this primarily is just the sap. But I would have to check it out. But if this would be something that would be interesting, you know, I don't know that I could do it, but I would certainly, you know, think about it, you know, because, you know, we certainly do appreciate you guys and all the support that you give us. So this is, you know, something that I have readily available that I could do, but I wanted to know what the interest level was. So if something like this would interest you, you know, be sure, leave me some comments, let me know, and we might consider this as one of our giveaways at some point on the review channel. So anyway, pine, yellow pine basically is where I get most of it, sap, rosin, the solid form. Of course, if it's too hot in the back of the mail truck, it could end up being liquid form by the time it gets to you. But I would have to make sure and put it in plastic, which, you know, when you undo it, it may be hard to get it undone. But anyway, let me know in the comments, is that something that would interest you guys at some point in time? Well, I was given this porch swing, but I don't think I'm going to put it up here because it's just a little bit small and a little bit lightweight. But I think that I can save this material that it came with and reuse this, especially, you know, these springs like this and a couple of these C-clamps that they've got on here, and I don't know about this chain, but I think I might go with a little bit heavier duty chain. But what I was thinking about doing is I'll probably take and use this same kind of a pattern, but I will go up and I'll make this a project. I will whittle me out a porch swing out of some crooked lumber where I can actually put this on the front porch of the cabin when I actually get it done. So I appreciate the thought behind, you know, the gift of this, but as I got to looking at it and I got to thinking about it, I thought, you know, it would be better because it's only going to hold so much weight, and it's just got little bitty thin brads, so it wasn't really expensive, but some of this hardware could be used. So I think that that's what I'm going to do. I think that I will just use this as a pattern, and I will make one out of some crooked lumber that will match everything else around here. I'm going to have to stick with the crooked theme. So I'm going to be known as the crooked man of the woods. But anyway, yeah. So I thought that I would mention that, you know, that's going to be another project. I mentioned that I'm going to be making my own bed frame. So this will be just another addition to what we're going to be doing. And you know, also had a lot of comments about closed caption and stuff like that. Folks, from what I understand, everything that we can do on our end is done. Because I told him, I said, I keep seeing these comments, but we don't know what else to do to change for those that may be hard of hearing or whatever, you know, maybe turn the television up some. You know, I really don't know what to do to remedy that, because on our end it looks like everything has been enabled. So I hope that, you know, it doesn't deter people from watching the channel, but we don't know what else to do. I just thought I would mention that because I've been getting that comment quite a lot lately. So anyway, we'll just, you know, keep going forward because we don't know anything else that we can do to improve. But certainly, you know, if anything ever, you know, comes to mind, please let us know, and if it's something that we can do or we can change, we certainly will do that. But I thought I would take some time and answer a few comments, so I think what I'm going to do is meet you back up at the rocking chair at the outdoor kitchen. I don't know if you guys have carpenter bees where you're at or not. That's what we call them here. That may not be the right term for them, but they're constantly buzzing around these structures, and I'm going to have to they make a little trap for them, which basically is a piece of wood that's got some holes bored, and once they go up that way, I guess they fall into a jar that's screwed on the bottom. But I've already noticed that up there at the chicken house on the poplar, now normally I thought they liked pine, but on the poplar there's already a couple of holes drilled in the decorative portion of the eave, the fascia board that I put up there. Already a couple of holes drilled in there, and so I'm going to think about maybe getting several of those and hanging them around so that I can trap those things, because they will certainly chew everything up. You know, somebody said, what is your recommendation for insect repellent in the garden? I'm going to show you a product that I found at Lowe's that I thought that I would try. I know had some people say to start mint in the garden as a repellent. Some people even said marigolds. Of course, if I get the marigolds started, I'm afraid that I might not get them stopped. But I'm going to show you a bottle of stuff that I picked up at Lowe's and what it's good for. What this is, it says it's for organic gardening, garden safe. Fungicide 3 is what they call it. It's 3 garden products in one. It says it's fungicide. It controls black spot, rust, and powdery mildew. It's an insecticide. It controls aphids, whiteflies, and other listed insect pests, which I haven't read the back as far as the list goes. And then it's a miticide. It controls spider mites for the use on roses, flowers, houseplants, ornamental trees and shrubs, fruits and vegetables. So I thought that I would try this. Now, I did have what basically looked like a cutworm down there on some of the beans, but I've sprayed this on the plants about 3 different times, you know, after it rained, because when it rains I feel like I need to go put it back on again. But I haven't really noticed any chewing on the leaves as of yet, since then. So this may work, but yeah, it appears to be a nice product. It wasn't all that expensive. I don't really remember how much I paid for it, but it wasn't all that expensive. I probably used 1/3 of it, and I've used it I think 3 times on the size garden that I've got now. I think the only thing that I didn't spray was the onions, but everything else got sprayed. So but if you guys have some comments, you know, as far as what you use in your garden to treat that, you know, be sure and leave the comments, because an answer in the comments, because everybody can see that, and we kind of help each other out when we do that. So I also get comments, do the locals have any Bigfoot stories? I'm not so sure that I would agree with any of their stories if they did have any. But I know that, you know, that amuses a lot of people. So but no, I don't know of anybody that has any kind of stories like that around here anyway. But I do see that comment quite often. I also had some comments that weasels were going to be able to get in and get the chickens. Well, we don't have those in this area either, and we don't have any minks in this area. The smallest rodent that I know of that would get in there would be a possum or a coon, and they're not small enough to fit through those 2 by 4 inch holes. And then we have coyotes here, you know, but they're certainly not going to be able to get in there either. The only thing I was concerned about at some point is if I had a hen that was setting and laying eggs, that I would probably have to take get a roll of the 24-inch, 18-inch, whatever it is, just high enough to go around the bottom where the little chicks couldn't walk out and walk back in. Of course, I'm sure if they wandered out, they're certainly going to go back in when Mom calls them. But I wouldn't want the dog to get after them either. So I may have to go back and put, you know, a small section around the bottom just for that. But no worries. We don't have weasels and we don't have minks in this area. You know, someone also said, and you know, if you watch all the videos, you pick up on this, but I know that sometimes, you know, some people may not be able to do that. But they wanted to know if I was going to put in a wheelchair ramp, that I needed to make sure my doors were wide enough. Well, if you follow this channel, you will know that all of my doors, outside and inside, are 36-inch doors, or 3-foot doors. Because that's one thing that I thought about, and even working in that area in my life, that everything needs to be not only wheelchair accessible, but emergency, or the stretcher in the ambulance, it needs to be accessible for that. So not only do I need a ramp, but I need a ramp where I have the ability to make the turn easily with a stretcher. I don't know whether you guys realize it or not, but those stretchers weigh 180 pounds without anyone on them. Now that's quite a bit. And when you put a 200, 300, and 400-pound patient on there, you know, you got a lot of weight riding. And so you need to be able to maneuver it easily. So that's one thing that I thought about, was making, you know, the ramp, after I read that suggestion, making it easy for them to get up here and also turn around and be able to back up to the area. Probably what I will do is I will take an area large enough for them to be able to back over with the rear end and come down on concrete to be able to get over to the ramp, because I don't want them to have to go through gravel with the stretcher. I've had to do that before. Let me tell you, if you've got a person with ARDS, which is acute respiratory distress, if they have had, you know, COPDs, you know, asthma, if they've had lung cancer, any kind of issue that causes them to go into acute respiratory distress. Trying to pull 400 or 500 pounds through the gravel, and there's only 2 people there that are doing it, you know, which is you and your partner. It's hard to do, and you know, sometimes you're down to time, minutes. So I want to make it easily accessible for the ambulance to be able to back up, drop their stretcher on solid concrete, then be able to access the ramp, which would be all wood, and to be able to get up into the house and maneuver around in there and not have to you know, try to go down a hallway that's only 2.5 feet wide, because honestly there's been many people, and I don't know why, but all the sick people are at the very end of the hall, sometimes in an older home where they need to be out, their bed needs to be out in the living room if they're that bad off. And I've had to lay them down on a sheet and drag them on the floor, drag them through the house to a point where I could actually get them on the stretcher. That's the safest thing to do, is to put somebody on a blanket, put them on a sheet or whatever, and just drag them on the floor. You know, I've had people that say, well, you know, you don't need to drag them, lift them up off the floor. You know, I've had people with seizures that were postictal, which is afterward, and actually go into another seizure before, and actually had them up off the ground and nearly fall out of the thing, like I'm telling you, the sheet where I was trying to carry them out. Didn't do that no more. Just put them on the blanket, drag them through till you get to a point where you can get to your stretcher, put them on the stretcher, and then go. But yeah, I did think about all that kind of thing, so I wanted to make sure that I had everything ready to go. Well, guys, I know that probably with all the chit-chatting that I've done today, that this is going to end up being a pretty lengthy video, so I think that I'm going to go ahead and cut it here. But yeah, keep the comments coming, because some of them do entertain me. My kids, you know, they probably read more than I do because of, you know, working up here and doing all that I do. But that certainly does help me out for them to read the comments. And my daughter answers most of them, but I try to answer some, you know, if I have time to do that. But keep them coming, because it does give us knowledge, you know, of stuff that you're interested in hearing about. And also, every once in a while, I'll go on there and I'll read some, and they're kind of entertaining, kind of funny, and we get a lot of jokes sent to us too, so those are always nice to have. But guys, thank you so much for all your support. Thank you for sharing our channel with other people. Like I said before, if you're new to this channel, be sure and check out our main channel, Smoky Mountain Outpost, and be sure and go to the website, check out the details on our giveaways and stuff like that. We hope that everyone has a great evening. Take care, and we look forward to seeing you back up here at the cabin again next time.